Okay, so we are working on week 9, Wednesday, semester 2 on factoring. Grayson, do you have this page in front of you? Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. All right, so what you're gonna do is, this is kind of like the reverse of distributed property. So before you have like a x minus 7, like this part to this part here represents x, right? But then this part here to this part here represents -7. So then you do 3 times x minus 7, right? Because you have to combine the two together, and then you do the distributive property, right? So same thing over here. So if this is -5, -5 times -4 is 20. So then -5 times x is -5x. So they have to equal. So that's good. So this part is x minus 4. So when you distribute it, -5x plus 20. So that one is good. Good job. Here, x and x equals x squared. X times 10 is 10x. So on top, x plus 10, distributed x squared plus 10x. Perfect. All right. So for number 4, a times a is a squared. A times -3 is -3a. So here you have a minus 3. A squared minus 3a. That's good. Okay. For number 5. Now you're doing the reverse distributive property. Okay. So what do they both share? The way I think about this is x times x, and this is a minus. Is that a plus or minus? Plus? What is that? Plus. Okay, so you know how x times x is x squared, 3 times x is 3x. What do they both have in common? Don't they both have an x in common? So then what you do is you put the x on the outside. What's left inside? X plus 3. Do you see that? So x times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, so that's good. Here, you have an x and an x, which is x squared, plus 5 times x is 5x. What do they have in common? X, right? And if you take the x out, what's left over? X plus 5 on the inside of the parenthesis. X times x is x squared, x times 5 is 5x, so this is good. For number 7, if you take a look at 6, this is 6 times 3 times x. Do you see that? I'm sorry, 6 times 2 times 3 times x. Not right now, okay? Oh my gosh, Grayson. I'll pause this. So for this one, you see how it's 3 times 2 times x. This one is 3 times 7. So what do they have in common? Do you see how they both have a 3 in common? So if I take the 3 out, 3 goes on the outside. What goes on the inside? 2x is the first part plus 7. So 2x plus 7. Do you see that? Okay, so then 3 is here. 2x is here. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 7 is 21. So far, so good. All right, then 8. Here, this is saying 2 times 2 times x, right? Minus 2 times 5 is 10. What do they both have in common? A 2, right? So what you do is you take the 2 out. What's left inside? It's a minus. You have a 2x on the first part, and then a 5 in the second part. So 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times -5 is -10. So that's good. Okay, number 9. For number 9, this is a times a minus 5 times a. What do they both have in common? In a. So what's left? A minus 5. So a times a is a squared. A times 5, or negative, make sure you have a negative, is a negative 5x, or 5a. Did you put a negative right there? Because I don't see a negative there for number 9. So make sure you have a negative. Maddie, stop. This one is m times m plus m times 1. Do you see that? What do they both have in common? M. M is what they have in common. What's left? M plus what? 1. I don't think that's right. So change that. So m times m is m squared, right? M times 1 is m. So that has to be a 1. So be careful with what you wrote. I think this part and this part is wrong, the part that I circled. Check with your work. Do you see how that's wrong?
No, that one was correct.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Because I couldn't see. Yeah, you're right. But the one on top is not M. It's 1. M times 1 is M. Okay. All right. Okay, so then for number 11, are you ready to move on? Okay, let me know when you're ready. Okay, so then for number 11, you have a t, because remember this is a t times t minus 6 times t. So what do they have in common? T, right? So you take the t out, but then what goes back inside? What's left? T minus 6. T minus 6. Naughty, you need to stop right now. Okay, so for number 12, between 10 and 35, you could think about what is the greatest common factor. That will be 5, right? So then when I break this down, let's do 5 times 2x is 10x. For this one, it's going to be a 5 times 7. What do they have in common? 5, right? But then what's left? 2x minus 7. So that's correct, okay? Let's take a look at number 14. So we're just going to skip around a little bit, okay? So what's your greatest common factor between 9 and 15? Greatest common factor between 9 and 15. Isn't it 3? What's your greatest common factor between a squared and a? Isn't it a? Because there's only one a there, right? So then when I do this, this is 3a times 3a. 3a times 3a is 9 squared, right? Minus 3a times 5. And you want both of them to have 3a so that we can factor it out. So you ask yourself, what do they have in common? 3a and 3a. So then you have 3a on the outside. What's on the inside? What's left? 3a minus 5. Do you see that? Is that what you have? I can't tell what you wrote down there. Is that what you have? 3a minus 5 on the inside? Okay, all right, so that concludes this side here. Now you have to think about this part right here, the back side, okay? So complete the factorization for each. If you take out the 3 here, what's left is x squared plus 5x. Do you see that? For B, if I take out an x, then I have 3x plus 5. For C, if I take out a 3x squared, then what's left is x plus 5, and that's it. Yeah. So which of the above factorization do you think is best? Which one do you think did you factor out the most? What did you take out the most outside of the parenthesis? A. A, you only took out 3. C. Why C? Okay, it is C because 3x is the greatest common factor of 3x squared plus 15x. That's the reason why. If you look at the greatest common factor of 3 and 15, that is going to be 3, right? Greatest common factor of x squared plus x is x. So you have to include both of them. Do you see that? Okay. Okay, let's move on. For number 3, you go ahead and try it on your own. Try it on your own for number 3. Turn on the light, please. Give it a try on your own, and I'll show you the answer. Okay, I'm gonna skip it and move on. So you need to pay attention to the next part for number 5. You can finish this later, okay? For number 5, factor each expression below. You should have 5x. So you have x plus 3, 2x minus 2. For number 9, 5x. So it's x plus 1. 3x. So it's x plus 4. X, 7x minus 9. 3a, so it's 3a minus 4. And that concludes this worksheet.